Well, I can't tell you how good it is to be back out of self-isolation and to be able to make these videos at church rather than having to cobble something together in my home. I don't know about you, but the calendar in my head has got all confused since we've had to stay in our homes in isolation. The children started their Easter holidays this week, but I've got to be honest, it feels just exactly the same as it did last week. We've still got to find things to occupy them all day long. It is, however, the Easter week now, and today is Maundy Thursday. And I suppose you all know what that means, don't you, Maundy Thursday? Well, for those of you who, like me, never learned any Latin at school, I'm told that the word Maundy is derived from the Latin word mandatum, which means commandment. It's the day of commandment. Maundy Thursday, of course, is a much catchier name than Commandment Thursday, so I guess that's why the name stuck. Now, which commandment is being referred to? What exactly is the church supposed to remember this Easter Thursday? Well, it was on that Thursday that Jesus met with his disciples in the upper room to celebrate Passover. And at some point in the evening, Jesus got up from the table and he wrapped a towel around his waist and washed each of his disciples' feet. In doing this, Jesus was setting an example for all his disciples thereafter to follow, for you and me. And that is a willingness to serve one another humbly, to look out for one another's needs, to care for each other within the community of the church. And so we read the commandment, the actual commandment that follows. It's in John chapter 13, verse 34, where Jesus says this: "A new commandment I give you, love one another. As I have loved you, so you must love one another. By this, all men will know that you're my disciples, if you love one another." Now, it's such a simple instruction, and yet it is a profoundly powerful one, to truly love one another. Jesus wants his disciples to look at the way he has loved them and then express the same kind of love as that to one another. So how has Jesus loved us? How has he loved his church? Paul describes this love in Ephesians chapter 5 when he's instructing husbands to love their wives. He actually says in that chapter that they're to love their wives as Christ loved the church and, listen, gave himself up for her. So sacrifice is key. We're to copy Jesus in giving ourselves up for each other. And essentially, I think this becomes a heart issue, doesn't it? A lot of people, you see, are willing to do favours for their neighbours, but they don't really do it in a self-sacrificing way. Not really. Because they want recognition for it. I think that's why I found this message slightly off that I saw on social media last week. It just jarred against me. See, I guess a lot of people wouldn't want to admit it, but they do want something back. Even if it's just a thank you, or, in the case of this, just a bit of recognition. Come on. Jesus did not model that way of loving others. He did not go to the cross because he wanted recognition from us. He didn't go to the cross even because he wanted us to say thank you. Now, a thank you is obviously the right response from us. It'd be strange not to thank him. But that's not what motivated the Son of God to die for you and me. He did it, the Bible tells us, for the joy set before him. The joy of doing his Father's will. And he did it, says the Bible, for the glory of redeeming a people for God from every tribe and tongue and nation. He did it for love, and that's what his love looked like. And so we should follow this example of radical love, and it is radical. In fact, if you look at what Jesus says, according to what he says, The way that we love each other in this radical way ought to stand out so much from the way that the world loves that it marks us out specifically as his disciples. It's our chief characteristic. So, what do we do with this? Well, brothers and sisters, especially in these difficult days where inside your home you need more patience, if you're anything like me, and outside your home there are so many needs that we have to attend to. Well, in both of those situations, may we grow in this kind of love that Jesus commanded of us. This self-sacrificing love that doesn't seek recognition, that doesn't seek reward or feel like we ought to get something back, but simply looks for the approval of your and my Heavenly Father.